Welcome, everybody. So to start everything off, let's get to know each other.
Sego Sewa Guego. My name is Jasmine. I use she, her pronouns. I am a grad student at the University of Toronto, and I'm also a research assistant at Finding Our Power Together on the Indigenous Youth Rising program. And I'm so excited to be joining you today from Hamilton, Ontario. And my nation is Mohawk. My community is Kahnawake. So it's a pleasure to be meeting you all today.
And I'm Savannah. I'm joining from Brampton, Ontario. I'm in the Bachelor's of Behavioral Science program at Humber College, and at Finding Our Power Together, I'm a program assistant as well as a research assistant and a peer mentor. And I'm mixed Indigenous, so my community lies on both Slave First Nation, so just north of, surrounded by Georgian Bay. And on my other side is on my dad's side, which is French Canadian. And I'm just excited to meet you guys all this evening and then just share info about the program that we have about Finding Our Power Together, just to open up the space for this evening. FOPT is a national Indigenous led charity and supporting Indigenous children, youth, and communities across Canada. And our mission is to end preventable deaths by suicide in Indigenous communities and support our people to thrive. And as we work towards this goal, we do this through programs like mental health counseling, mentorship, leadership, and cultural healing initiatives, and services for Indigenous communities, organizations, including training, partnerships, and capacity building, as well as community-led research that uplifts Indigenous knowledge, voices, and solutions. Just a little bit about our story. So it started in 2016, and it started as an initiative in the Menominee First Nations. And in 2017, we held our first fundraising event that raised $10,000. And then in the next year, in 2018, we maintained connections with Nipponomic youth. And then back in 2020, they made a group trip out into Nipponomic First Nation, confirmed to desire the expansion as a registered nonprofit organization. And in 2022, that's when we acquired our first office. And to the present day, we're continuing growing and expanding all across Turtle Island.
So why we're starting a youth council, FOPT, or Finding Our Power Together, has always been youth-led. As Savannah mentioned, we began as a youth initiative in Nipponomic First Nation and has grown through leadership, ideas, and the voices of Indigenous youth. And we want FOPT to be youth-led, not just youth-serving. So the council will hold us accountable and bring insight from across the country and help FOPT evolve in good ways together. Over the past 5 years, we've run a program called the Young Leaders Circle, which was a national program where Indigenous youth shared insights, built skills, and worked together on life promotion. And through this work, youth told us that they wanted more formal leadership roles and decision-making power. So, as FOPT continues to expand to support not only youth, but also children's families and whole communities, we're committed to keeping youth leadership at the center of our growth. So, what is the National Youth Council? It will be made up of 10 to 20 Indigenous youth from across Turtle Island. The council members will be youth who are interested in leadership within FOPT and in their communities. And the group will meet once a month, usually virtually, to give input on how FOPT can better support Indigenous communities, promote mental health, and help end preventable suicide. So what this might look like is sharing your experiences to help shape our programs, supporting and guiding other peer leaders, representing FOPT in your home community as an ambassador, and most importantly, we want your voice in shaping this council. So the National Youth Council will be co-designed by youth, with youth, for youth. So FOPT's theory of youth leadership is called Oskatis Niganemoen, which is an Anishinaabe teaching shared with us by elders, meaning the way of a young leader. It's about living in a good way so that others may walk alongside you or to be inspired to follow. So through the Young Leaders Circle program, we put this teaching into practice by creating space for youth to explore who they are, what leadership means to them, and how they can walk with purpose. This included tools, teachings, and supports, and youth were able to choose how and when to use them. We were guided by youth and by elders in community, culture, and connection. So this will be the foundation of the Youth Council. Not telling youth how to lead, but to walk beside them, to help them live well in ways that feel meaningful to them, to support their power so they can help others find theirs too. And we'll also be discussing the Indigenous Youth Rising Project. As we mentioned, to help develop the National Youth Council, this project, the Indigenous Youth Rising Project, is a Participatory Action Research Project, or PAR project, and it's the first activity of the Council. So this means that we're inviting Indigenous youth to help develop the Council and share insights on what's important to them in this development process. So through the PAR process, you will help design how the Council works, share what Indigenous youth need from leadership, governance, and organizations like FOPT, and help us to guide us with your knowledge, experiences, and community insight. So this approach reflects how we do things at FOPT through community-driven, evidence-based, and culturally attuned processes. The PAR project will serve three primary purposes. The first is research, so gathering insights and documenting what Indigenous youth want from leadership and governance opportunities. The second is design, so co-creating the governance structure of the Youth Council itself. So what the council will do, what it might look like, what kind of activities it will involve, and also capacity building, so offering training on leadership, program design, evaluation, and political engagement. How it will work. So the Participatory Action Research Project will involve 6 monthly sessions. So we'll meet once a month virtually from July to December 2025. Each session will be roughly 2 hours long on Zoom, and you'll be paid $50 per session for your time and knowledge and participation. We'll talk, create, and learn together, which means that the sessions will be recorded with your consent and transcribed. We'll use activities like talking circles, visioning, mapping, and design, and you'll learn about leadership governance, policy, and program design. We'll look at real data. We'll explore stories and feedback from other Indigenous youth through FOPT's past programs, and you'll help us understand what's working and what needs to change. Lastly, what you share will shape the council. So everything we learn in the Participatory Action Research Project will guide how the Youth Council is built. So you have a direct role in creating something lasting, rooted in community, culture, and care, and of course be invited to stay on the council long term, if you'd like. Who can join? So again, we're looking for 10 to 20 Indigenous youth to join us in shaping the FOPT National Youth Council by participating in the PAR project. So you're a good fit if you self-identify as Indigenous, inclusive of First Nations, Métis, or Inuit. You're between the ages of 14 and 29 years old. You can live anywhere in Canada and have access to reliable internet and a device for our Zoom meetings. You are open to sharing your thoughts, ideas, and experiences with leadership as part of the documented research process, and are interested in becoming part of the National Youth Council. So how to get involved? If this is something that sounds appealing to you, we would love to have you be a part in designing the National Youth Council. If you'd like to be contacted to participate in the PAR project, we invite you to fill out the expression of interest form. You can scan the QR code and I will paste the form in the chat. So that's just a Google form, again, confirming the criteria that was just on the last slide, confirming your interest and learning a little bit more about you to determine whether or not it would be a good fit for the Participatory Action Research Project. It'll include questions as well that will help to get to know you better and to see if you would be a good fit for us as research collaborators together.